Hi, it's Eva here at Bariva Creative, and today I will be showing you how to 3D print some cool cookie cutters for all that fabulous polymer clay that I keep seeing fabulous videos of. I personally have never worked with polymer clay before, and I will be attempting that at the end of this video, but this video is mostly about the 3D printing process and how to build and create these cookie cutters and a pattern press yourself if you want to give it a whirl. I have a 3D printer that my wonderful husband got me for my birthday, and I absolutely love it. I use it a lot. He uses it more, but we love having it. It was a really great investment for us, and I will leave some links below for that and also the plastic and a couple other things that we see in this video to Amazon links. We are now Amazon affiliates with it, which is super exciting, and so definitely follow those links later after you watch this video and check out the stuff. Let's get into it. Alright, let's just jump right into this. So I'm going to start out by just tracing out the profile that I will then use to make all of these cookie cutters. So I'm going to start with a thicker base. That's going to be where I press my fingers down onto the cookie cutter, and a nice sharp edge at the top. And that will be the blade edge or cutting edge that actually cuts out the shape in the clay. And there's not a lot of thought or reason behind this shape, it just seemed to make sense to me as I was drawing it. Feel free to just do a rectangle with a sharp edge so it's more like an actual metal cookie cutter. Whatever works is absolutely fine. Now I want to trace out the shape that the cookie cutter will be cutting out. So that's going to be one of those arches or rainbows, whatever that shape is that's so hot right now. I just have to explode the little group that I made earlier and use the follow me tool to track that profile all the way around the shape of the arch. And it takes a little finagling to do, but after a couple tries I did get it to fully trace the arch shape. There was a bit of cleanup to do after I got everything wrapped around. There were but a couple weird corners and misalignments. And I also like to take out extraneous lines in surfaces in Sketchup. It tends to give me a better result in the print and less of a likelihood of failure. So that's what I'm doing now, just cleaning up some of those odd lines and shapes that for some reason didn't quite end up perfectly parallel. One other thing that will make it more likely that your print is successful is to make sure that all of your faces are facing the right direction. So there's these dark gray, and that's technically the inside of these faces, so you want to reverse the faces so that the white is on the outside. And that's it, that's our little arch shape. So I'm just gonna group that together so I can make another shape, and I'm just gonna make that exact same profile again and trace it around another shape. You could probably copy it originally and not have to redraw it, but I didn't think to do that. So we're just making a quick hexagon here, and then to make an even simpler shape, I'm taking that exact same hexagon, copying it, and just stretching it so it's a longer version of the same shape, and I think that'll make a cool pair of shapes. Now we just need to save the file and then download it as an STL. STL stands for stereolithography, and that is what my 3D printer and most 3D printers, at least their software, reads the STL file. And then I just drag it into my 3D printer program, and I need to scale it up. So it comes in and thinks the inches are millimeters, and there's a quick easy button to make it do that correctly. And then we're just going to select our settings. I'm just doing a simple PLA print here, and then export it as G-code, which is what the actual machine reads. I always then double check the preview of the slices that the program gives me just to make sure that it looks the way I want it to look, and then I just really quick hit the send to 3D print button and it will send over my Wi-Fi to the 3D printer. And then after that sends to my printer, it kind of shows me a little status dialog here at the bottom that I can watch and allows me to save one more time, and we should just get printing now. And there it is, my beautiful machine printing me pieces of plastic. It's truly a marvel of science. And here it is halfway through. And now that it's done, I can pull it out of the 3D printer and pop it off the bed. Upon inspecting my pieces, I probably didn't need quite so big a lip at the top to press down on, but I don't think it's a problem. So the next thing that I'm making here is just a pattern that I can press down into the clay and get like kind of a surface pattern going. I'm actually having to remake this. You can see on the right I have a model ready, but it kept giving me errors when I went to print it, so I'm having to rebuild it, which is unfortunate, but you know, that's life. So I'm just kind of making this pattern, copying it up, cleaning it up, fixing it up, and once I have the entire surface consolidated into one enormous shape, I will then just extrude it up and it'll be ready to print. Alrighty, so here I'm pulling it up, and I pulled it up to 3/8 of an inch thick, and it was actually way thicker than it needed to be, but that is something I will keep in mind for next time. It probably only needs to be maybe 3/16 of an inch, or maximum a quarter. Definitely did not need to be 3/8 of an inch. And I'm printing this print with a raft, which actually adds a significant amount of printing time, but I was having trouble getting it to stick with the first couple tries, so I kind of stopped the print and reprinted with a raft, and it came out great. As you can see here, it's super thick and super sturdy, and there's actually kind of a micro pattern on top of this that is just the plastic, the way the plastic extruded, and I could sand that out, but I am not going to this time. So let's really quick mix up some clay and get some earrings going. I honestly have never done this before, so that is why it didn't turn out perfect, but I'm just going to show you anyways because it's a learning curve and everybody's got to learn sometime. I will definitely be practicing this and getting to do it better, and hopefully in the future I will know how to do it better and maybe even do a video on that. So I'm just pulling out some white to mix with that green because I want more of a pastel green color than the kind of vibrant green. And I specifically picked my colors so that I could mix them myself. I kind of just got red, green, yellow, blue, and a bunch of white so that I could kind of mix and match the colors and have a little bit more freedom than sticking with the default manufacturer colors. And looking back on it, I probably should have worked this a little differently because bubbles turned out to be an issue later. And I clearly don't have the tools to do this properly. I'm using my kitchen rolling pin, which is truly enormous for the task at hand, but it worked this time. Honestly, it would probably be great to use my pasta extruder roller thin thing. That I've seen work really well, but for this size of project, I really didn't think it was necessary to get my whole pasta maker out. So I'm just using those cookie cutters, and they actually worked really great. Not a ton of pressure, they didn't hurt my fingers with that nice wide top surface, and they cut really cleanly. I also found that all the fiddling that I did with my fingers left a lot of fingerprints on the final earrings, which is something I will keep in mind next time. I will either wear rubber gloves or just avoid touching them more. And honestly, the stuff sticking to the surface was also a problem. I kind of banged up the edges, pulling them off the surface. As you can see, I'm kind of stretching and morphing it here. So I think I'm going to actually next time just do everything, all the work on the parchment paper that eventually goes in the oven, so that I can minimize the amount of time that I touch the actual piece that I'm baking. So here I'm rolling this out to test the pattern press, and just want a nice big surface to do that. It was kind of interesting to see how the different sides press down. This first side kind of has a twirly pattern from the top of the print, and again, this could be sanded out, but I can't be bothered today. And honestly, I was kind of liking the pattern within the pattern. It kind of added texture in a nice way, but again, that's a personal preference. So for this one, I'm trying the opposite side of that pattern press, and here's a close-up of kind of what those two sides look like. And this one I liked better. I liked the bottom side of the pattern better than the top side, but that again is going to depend on the printer and your settings and all sorts of things, how that pattern actually turns out. But for this flower, I thought that the kind of linear pattern on the back was very conducive to the pattern and kind of added to it in a nice way. And here I'm struggling to get those pieces onto the piece of parchment without messing them up too much, and you see they're kind of squishing and crushing in unpleasant ways. So again, I think I'm going to just do all of the working of the clay on the parchment paper next time, and I think that will give me a cleaner result. And here are my very scorched little final clay pieces. I used a toaster oven, which I will not be doing again in the future. I think the heat was too uneven and a little too high, so I will be doing it in a regular oven in the future. But that's what I'm here for. You can learn from my mistakes. The polymer clay also seems to not have cured quite properly, probably too short of a time at too hot. Again, trial and error / maybe read the instructions better, Eva. So I'm just using some glue to glue my stud posts to the back of these. And here they are, these fabulous little very screwed up earrings. We learned together. Well, that went poorly, to say the least, but I'm actually really happy with how the 3D prints turned out, and I think I just really need some practice with the polymer clay. So if you have any tips or comments for me on how I could do the earrings better, please let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video or learned something about 3D printing and want to get into it, also add that in the comments below. Let me know. I will be leaving a couple of links below for the 3D printer and the plastic and that sort of thing for Amazon. We are Amazon affiliates now, so definitely follow those links. And if you try something like this yourself at home, tag us at Briva Creative as always, and like and subscribe and comment and all of that good stuff. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!